John and Lemon, we're feeling our best. Talking shop, but taking it slow. Crafting life as we go. From laughs to tools, from brews to skies, we're squeezing joy, no need to try. It's life with a twist of lemon. Two best friends and a vibe you can lean on. Tales, ideas, and a pinch of delight. We're bringing sunshine day or night. It's life with a twist of lemon. Two best friends and a vibe you can lean on. Tales, ideas, and a pinch of delight. We're bringing sunshine day or night. Life with a twist. Life with a twist. Life with a twist of lemon.
So, Jonathan, I had intended to record this earlier. I've dragged my feet. It's been that kind of week, but I wanted to wish you a belated happy first contact today.
Correct. Which is also a happy Easter.
Oh yeah, that was going on too. But happy first contact day. I think this is a really important time of year when the Vulcans first greet humans.
Correct. So from Cochrane.
Yeah. Oh, Zephyr Cochrane. Now there is an American hero.
Eventually,
right? Someone.
So what year is that?
Said, when is like 2066?
No, it's well past that.
No,
that's like when the Third World War starts.
Hold on. What happens? April 5th, 2063 is the day of first contact between humans and aliens, specifically the Vulcans. I was close, Jonathan. I said 2066. It was 2063.
I thought it was much later than that. So
no, man, because think about it. So the original series is in the mid 22s, and if I recall right, Enterprise is in the mid to late 21s.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah. But anyhow, all that said, right, talking about space, it has been one heck of a week on the Final Frontier, has it not?
It absolutely has been. I am so invested, Stan.
Okay, so we're talking about Artemis specifically, right?
Yep.
And I'm assuming you watched the launch.
I watched the launch, but not live, unfortunately.
What were you doing that you couldn't watch it live?
I don't know, because what time was launch?
It was like 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah, so I think we were like eating dinner, and
it was 6:30 my time, so it would have been 5:30 your time.
So I was in the car.
You were in the car.
Lily and I watched it after the fact, shortly after the fact. But
okay, and this is probably the first rocket launch you've watched with her, right?
Oh, with her, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. See, we've watched a few Falcon launches as a family. Which were exciting. This is I remember the first crewed Falcon launch we watched. Again, super exciting. This is just a different level. I think because Elon Musk has nothing to do with it.
That
right?
Could definitely be. Yeah.
Oh, it's a huge factor. It's a huge factor for me. But also there's something about let's see if this makes sense. There's something about NASA in its purity, not like commercialized, privatized spaceflight, but just NASA. That is so, I don't know, breathtaking. I don't it's just awesome. It's just awesome. And this is a cool rocket too.
Cool rocket. Watch the rocket. Watch the separation. It's a cool mission. You are a big Apollo fan, and you know way more about the Apollo missions than I do. So this has got to be like next level for you.
Yeah. So I definitely big Apollo. In particular, I am a huge Jim Lovell fan, and
nice.
Not just because of Apollo 13, but like Apollo 8. Such a cool, epic story in terms of the launch, the circumstances that lead up to it, what those guys choose to do and read and say as they're going around the moon on Christmas. And Jim Lovell passed away just a few months back now, right? And I think on Instagram I posted I have his book, the original printing, not the post Apollo 13, the movie printing. And I have it; it's signed, written out to me by Jim Lovell. I posted a picture of that, when he passed away. But apparently he had pre-recorded
Yeah.
a greeting to the astronauts as they were approaching, like, and they played it to the push the moon. And I ain't gonna lie, man, my allergies got a little, acted up. But
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be crazy for those astronauts too, as they're taking part in this moon mission, have been training for years. And like, for sure, you're looking back at previous moon missions.
yeah, and this is like Jim Lovell is in a league of his own, right? In terms of time flown, and which, like the folks that go to the International Space Station are now totally eclipsing what he did. But he had almost 30 days of time in space, which
Right.
And spanned across 4 missions, right? At a time when these missions were not that long, right? They got a little longer with the shuttle. But I think the other thing too that is cool, he had 2 Gemini missions and 2 Apollo missions. And let's see if my memory is going to serve me right here. The second Gemini mission, is that the rendezvous one, or is it the first one? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank.
I'm
But
not the guy who
basically,
has the answer for you.
yeah. Well, all right. If only the robots were a little faster. So it's the first mission. So he spends 14 days in space, 206 orbits, with another guy named Frank Borman, who was the captain of Apollo 8, the first one around the moon, right? And they rendezvous with Gemini 6. So this is what's bonkers. The whole concept of the command module and the lunar module docking in space so they could go do Apollo trips. They have to prove out that they can actually dock in space, Jonathan. And that was his first mission in space, right? So like,
So cool.
yeah, he's just got his fingerprints over the most monumental prerequisites to Apollo 11, right? And then everybody knows him because of Apollo 13, but which is a big deal. I'm not gonna lie, but like everything he did up into that moment, bigger deal.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It was cool. I imagine it had to be because like as much as I'm talking about him with this like admiration, he's a legend in NASA, So to be greeted by him posthumously,
as you are approaching the moon, like
as you're approaching the moon. Yeah, crazy. We're back at the moon, John. We're back at the moon.
We got such great photos from this mission.
Shot on
Nikon and iPhone 17.
iPhone. Come on, man. Hold down play.
They have DLSRs, mirrorless ones too. So
they do, but the iPhone is the approved phone for this mission. Like, how cool is that? They're taking photos on the iPhone. I don't know. It's so cool.
Yeah, this might be the most commercialized NASA mission with all the product placement. So
there's definitely a lot of product placement. I actually saw what's her name? Jessica Alba, is that right? Who's the one that does?
Yeah, the one, some skincare thing. I saw it too.
Yeah. The Honest Company, right? So there's I saw a video of her on Instagram listening to communication between Houston and the Artemis with one of the astronauts asking for a skincare product from Honest, trying to find it because she was pretty sure they had it on board. Yep. Which I mean, like if that's you, if you've made that product, how cool is that?
Yep. And you saw the Nutella floating around?
I did not see that one.
Okay.
That's cool. Do you think, like Nutella's not paying for product placement there, are they?
I don't know. This might be as conspiracy theorist as I get, but
you think Nutella is on? It's part of big NASA branding?
I mean, these are not cheap missions, Stan.
Well, I'm sure everything's intentional. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right. So I was reflecting a little bit on. Well, actually, hold on. Let me back up. So you watched it after launch. So you knew by the time you watched the recording, you knew that nothing had gone wrong.
That too, yes, which is important when you're watching with a 2-year-old. Yeah.
Okay. Fair point. It didn't even cross my mind that I should not let the kids watch. And I guess I should have. Now so that was Wednesday night, last Wednesday at Monday Thursday service. Your father-in-law included a prayer for the astronauts on the Artemis mission, which I thought was cool. Yeah, I think he included them on Easter Vigil too, or maybe Sunday morning. One of them popped up a couple times, but I thought like that. That was great, right? and I talked with him a little bit about it afterwards. And, he said, look, man, my generation holds their breath for every launch. And I thought about it, right? Like he's referencing Challenger, and I can definitely see how I was itty bitty. You were not born yet. But I'm going to hold my breath on their return, because while I'm not the Challenger generation, I am the Columbia generation.
Columbia,
yeah. And it dawned on me that like my kids don't have any conceptualization of the stakes, right? Like they've seen the Apollo 13 movie, because it's up there in terms of my favorite movies of all time. I've watched it many times, but it's different to watch. Like, I think it's different to watch the movie that tells that story, and then to be, I don't know. Do you remember where you were at when Columbia exploded on reentry?
I don't.
See, I remember exactly where I was. It was a Saturday. I think it was a Saturday. I'm pretty sure it was a Saturday. And I was at the high school, and we were doing a speech tournament practice for, I think, like divisionals or finals or whatever. So we were in a classroom, I can see exactly where I was at, and I'm curious to see if I remember the date right. What day of the week was it, Jonathan? You'd think it'd be easier to find this out. Anyhow, so I'm that'll be on my mind as they return, and I hope they return safely, and I look forward to seeing even more of what they took and what they learned and all of that, right? Did you find it yet, John? You look like you're Googling.
I've got February 1st, but I can't.
Yeah. Like, what day of the week was February 1st? 2003. It was a Saturday. I found it. It was a Saturday. Okay. See, how's that from my memory, right? I may be getting old. But
so man, I would have been in 8th grade. So I was probably at home, maybe at a basketball game, but.
Okay. So again, like if we were not doing this extra practice for our speech tournament, for our forensics tournament, I would not have been at school. I don't know where I would have been, probably at home. And I don't remember who found out first or whatnot, but we totally disrupted everything to pull in a TV and watch the live broadcast.
Pull in a TV stand before you could just watch it on your phone.
Before you could just watch it on your phone. Yeah, exactly. And it was a big old CRT TV. There were a limited number for the floor. It was on cart. Yeah. Yeah.
Ratchet strapped down. So.
Yeah. But I think like that. So again, I said Columbia generation, your father-in-law being part of the Challenger generation. And I think that just frames, like it adds a little bit of a, I found myself holding my breath, right?
Yep.
Because this is it's not a given thing that it's gonna happen. And I reflect on this because I have actually seen a space shuttle launch from the Zephyr Hills area. So it was a clear day, space shuttle launch, and looked up in the sky and saw it. I was visiting my grandparents. And I remember my grandfather saying, "Oh, it's just another one of those shuttle launches."
Nice.
And I was like, oh yeah, I guess it is, right? Because I think we had trivialized space flight there, especially at the tail end of the shuttle program, because it was like they were doing it all the time, or it seemed like it was all the time. There were multiple shuttles, they were reusable. Like it lost some of its luster in terms of the frequency. It shouldn't have, but it did. We've had this long gap, and the Artemis has really struggled to also, like this program has struggled, but we're there. We're on the other side of the moon. It's cool.
Super cool. What else do I want to say about the mission so far?
Well, you sent me a text yesterday, or was it this morning? Maybe it was this morning.
It's where they made contact with the International Space Station, and they were communicating back and forth. And I'm like, these people are communicating with Houston, like from the side of the moon. So why do I think that this is so cool? But it was just super cool, and they just were chit-chatting like over the comms.
I think and it's not like as far as I know, right? It's not like a capsule has never communicated with the space station as it's approached to dock.
Right.
Like I think that's the thing, right? The nature of, because they're not going to stop by the International Space Station. It's not part of the mission. I don't know, man. This is the thing that we have watched on TV and celebrated and Star Trek, right? Like coming to life.
Right. The space station hailed the spacecraft.
It hailed the spacecraft, right? As it was going into, or orbiting around the moon. Like it's just so cool. This is exactly what I've always wanted to be true in the universe.
Yep. We got some really great images from the far side of the moon. They named a couple craters. They didn't. So I don't know. They must have this all mapped out, and apparently they found craters that hadn't been named yet.
Well, there's a part of the moon that they've never seen before.
Okay.
Right. In terms of previous orbits.
Because the other ones were too close. So
right. And so that allowed them to see things they haven't seen before. So, you see new things, you get to name them. Right.
Yep.
And did you watch the videos where they talked about why they would name what they were going to name and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just cool. It's just cool. The intentionality of it all.
I like it. Cool stuff.
Are you going to watch The Return live?
What time is it supposed to be?
Oh man, you ask the hard questions. When does
it's Friday, right? I think it's Friday afternoon, so I probably won't be able to see it live.
You're not going to watch it at work? It's at 8:07 p.m. Eastern time, so that'll be 7.
Then I probably can, yeah.
Yeah, you'll be home. You'll have a glass of wine.
We could go into the Vision Pro, and we could sit in the theater together, and then we can watch it at the same time.
Can we do that on YouTube?
There's a YouTube app now. Maybe it's not sitting in the theater, but there's like SharePlay or whatever.
Okay, we should experiment with this because that could be cool in a nerdy way.
Maybe we won't have avatars, but we could SharePlay.
I'm up for it, man. I'm up for it. I will definitely watch it, and I look forward to seeing it. Have I told you I've seen most of the Apollo capsules in person at this point?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and a bunch of the
Gemini. I was with you for one of them, right? That one you've probably seen before, right? No, we didn't go to NASA. We were both in Texas at the same time, but we went on different days.
Yeah, we went on different days. Yeah. A bunch of the Mercury ones, a bunch of Gemini ones. I should actually sit down and write out.
We saw they had a rocket in the in Dayton at the Air Museum.
Did I take you to the Air Force Museum?
Yeah. So we saw, what was it? Saturn V?
No, they don't have a Saturn V. They have you're talking about the missile complex. So those are missiles. Those aren't I mean, there's some overlap, right? Because the original space program was just strapping capsules onto the top of missiles, but different. But I think there's a capsule there. I should actually spend some time mapping out. Yeah, they have there's a Gemini B there, it looks like. And then they have the Apollo 15 command module, which is the one I was thinking of as well. So yeah, that's a great museum. Like, you want to talk about a cool place to go. The U.S.
Did they have one of the shuttle transport planes there too?
No. They have a mock-up of the shuttle. But they don't have. Yeah. No. The transport plane, that's in Houston.
That's in Houston. Okay.
Yeah, one of the 747s is there, and you can walk into it. They've attached it to the side of the building. It's part of the exhibit there. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Lego set of the 747 with the shuttle attached to it, and if I had more places to display Lego sets at this point, I think I would buy it. I'm tempted by the Artemis set. I bet you those things are going to sell out like crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, good deal. Hey, so I mentioned that I was at your father-in-law's for Holy Week here. I wanted to tell you about. Did I send you any pictures from the Ferrari dealership?
You did not. I saw some on Instagram, I think. From Lucy.
Right. I got to post up there. Okay, I got to say about this because it's kind of funny. So Henry, my son, loves cars, right? And he loves stupid expensive cars. I think they're called hypercars. And we're talking about like cars that by themselves cost multiple millions of dollars.
Yep.
Right. And Koenigseggs is one of the brands that he's really infatuated with. There's the Regera, the Jesko, and I think, if I remember right, this is a Swedish car company. But we're talking about they make like less than 10 of a vehicle, right? In total. These are so niche, it's just beyond belief. And there are at this moment in the United States, there are only 2 Koenigseggs Actually, it might be in the world. I think it's actually the world, not the US. There are just 2 Koenigseggs for sale, right? They're both Koenigsegg Regeras. And it turns out that they were at Koenigsegg of Chicago, which is actually just part of a Ferrari dealer, right? And Henry has asked multiple times, like, can we go out and see the car dealership in Lake Forest? And it's kind of out of the way. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do this, right?
Yep.
Your father-in-law wanted a board game. I was like, oh, son, let's go. Let's go to the Koenigsegg
Nice
dealership. So we drove out, Ferrari dealership, and apparently it did not used to be open to the public, right?
Okay.
But now it is. So we were able to go in, tons of Ferraris. I mean, $250,000 here, $250,000 there. Really nice cars. They don't do test drives. That's a discussion for we'll come back to it. But they had these 2 Koenigseggs, the Koenigsegg Regeras out. They're wild. And then they had another car called a Pagani, which apparently just is niche. So between the 3 vehicles that we're looking at, this Pagani and these 2 Koenigseggs, I think Henry calculated that the current asking price of all 3 combined was like $15 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Like, just to think, like, and so to the right of them is a Ford GT, one of 50 that were built for the 50th anniversary of the Ford GT. That was the car that I liked the most.
Yeah.
I think I posted that one to Instagram. But we talked to this one sales guy, and he told me, like, people don't drive these. They just, like, these are showpieces. Like, that's a different life, man. I can't even wrap my head around that. But he happened to have the key to the Pagani on him. He was going to put it back. He'd just shown it to someone, and we couldn't go in it because, like, this is a $4 or $5 million vehicle. Like, we're not going to get it. But he opened it up so we could look inside.
Did he have to wear gloves to open it up?
No, he did with just his hands. Which is that's a fair question. It's a fair question. All carbon fiber body. Every inch of this car had a level of detail to it that it's just unbelievable to see. And we always talk about craftsmanship, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure these cars go fast. I'm sure they handle well. The craftsmanship and the detail of the aesthetics is what really blew me away.
Nice.
So, I asked about test drives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was basically, you don't walk in here deciding, like, am I going to buy a Ferrari or not? You just decide what color and what model. And I was like, I asked him, I said, I mean, how do I know that I want a Ferrari versus a Lamborghini? Like, maybe I need to go to a different dealership. And I was like, isn't that what a test drive's for? And he's like, no, you just come in, you pick one. And I was like, okay. And then I said, well, like, hypothetically, if I were rich and I wanted to test drive one, what would that look like? And he just laughed at me. He just chuckled. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm fascinated with this. Like, would someone buy a Ferrari without ever test driving it?
Yeah. And, like, what does the sales process look like if that's the case? Is there one?
I mean, that's a great question. He told me that as far as, like, the Pagani that was there, he had someone fly. Like, most of the sales that they do apparently are out of state, because there's not like a ton of dealerships for this kind of thing,
right?
And so he's got a guy,
especially in the Midwest, like
right,
Where else would there be one?
But he's got a guy coming to fly out to look at the Pagani, right? And I'm like, okay, so he's gonna fly up, and you're not gonna have him drive it? Like, that's the part that still blows my mind,
right?
Like, surely, and I even inquired, like, is there a test track that you would go to? And he's like, there's one up in Wisconsin, there's one down in Aurora or Joliet, not Aurora. And I was like, all right, but that's nowhere near you. Like, how do you, surely if I'm
someone has wanted to drive this, right?
Yeah. I assumed it would be like a leverage discussion, right? Like, I'm going to leverage, I'm going to give you 50 grand so I can take it out for 5 minutes, like something like that, right. But this guy wasn't like, he's just like, no, if you want that, you just buy it. That's a different world for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I am not a car guy, but I have seen Ford versus Ferrari, and I have now seen the F1 movie. So mostly I'm into the racing.
So I like both of those. What did you think?
I like them both too.
So the hunt for John's bad taste in cinema will not fall with those two.
I don't think I have bad taste in cinema, Stan. I just don't buy into the hype as much as other people do.
I'm still challenging Mrs. Lemon to record where she thinks Jonathan veers off.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So she just doesn't have anything. So I gotta keep my eye open. But
Okay.
I gotta tell you that I don't think I would buy a Ferrari because of that movie, Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think Enzo is portrayed like the exact opposite of someone I'd want to give my money to.
Fair enough.
You know, he's probably not even still alive. But like, I don't know. I'm not a Ford guy by any stretch, but I was rooting for Ford by the end of that movie.
For sure. I think of the two, I like that one better than F1.
It's a better story for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. F1 was clever. Like I thought it was well done. It was interesting. The self-sacrificial ending, good, you know.
Yeah, and I think that it was kind of a fresh take on the like old and outdated athlete trope.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Have you watched F1 at all?
Not an entire race or anything like that.
Okay. Do you enjoy watching racing?
Historically, no. I think there's probably something to F1 that makes it more interesting than NASCAR
Yeah.
or Indy. Or
yeah. I agree with you. Okay, hot take. The Indianapolis 500 looks so boring to me. And I know I shouldn't say that because like this entire city that I live in loses its mind in the month of May, but I really don't see the appeal in the circle over and over and over and over again. I mean, I know there's exciting things that happen, but to me, there's like a.
I think it would be pretty exciting to drive that, but maybe half the length.
Yeah. I can see that. I don't know. There's exciting stuff that happens, but I don't want to sit there and wait for it. You know.
No.
I think
so
that
what
I think
you're
that's fun.
saying is that we should go out to Vegas sometime for the F1 race.
I think that would be a ton of fun because Apple now has rights to F1, right?
Mhm.
And I have watched time trials and some portions of races, and it's kind of interesting. There's a lot more that's going on because the tracks aren't just a circle, you know.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Last thing from the Ferrari dealership. Do you remember the Plymouth Prowler?
No.
Oh, okay. This is like a roadster. You should look this up while I describe this. The Plymouth Prowler was a roadster that Plymouth, owned by Chrysler, did. I think in the late 90s. Maybe it made it to the early aughts. I thought it was a cool looking car. Henry thought it looked ridiculous. They had one of these.
It does kind of look ridiculous, but I see why you like it because it's got a nod to like early American automobiles.
It's got a nod to early American automobiles. I think the curvaceousness of it and the shape and the exposed wheels. I really love the exposed wheels in the front. I don't know. There's just something cool about it. It's not a big vehicle. I think the pictures are misleading because the pictures make it look bigger than it is. It's actually a rather small vehicle. But they had one at the Ferrari dealership of all things in the far back. And I think the crazy thing about the Prowler, if I remember right, the engine was horribly underpowered. Like I think it was like a V4 from a minivan that they stuck in this body.
The 1997 model had a top speed of 118 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's not even like that's.
It was electronically limited though.
Oh, well, so was the minivan, right? But it's this is a car that was all show. And there was no guts to it, but I still, I don't know. Maybe it's the late 90s thing again. I really liked seeing it.
Yeah, so it looks like it ran from 97 to 2002.
Okay, those are good years. Good
starting
vintage.
Out at $38,300 in 97 and starting out at $44,625 for suggested retail price in 2002.
Wait. What was the original sale price?
38,300.
Okay. And
in 1997.
Did you say 97? That was an expensive car in 1997.
Yep.
I wonder on eBay Motors what a Plymouth Prowler runs now.
Due to limited trunk space, a $5,000 Prowler trailer option was available from Chrysler dealers.
Oh, you should look up the trailer because it is the most ridiculous thing you could possibly imagine. All right, here's a new listing: $33,995. Here's a $23,000. So this has not retained its value, is what I would say. Here's a $22,000 Plymouth Prowler. You found the trailer,
It looks
didn't you?
ridiculous.
Yeah. Here's what I don't understand. If you had bought a Plymouth Prowler, what are you doing in your life
Right.
where you want that trailer? You
Right.
know, like I don't know. And for me, there was a champagne colored one that had the right color for me. Like I'm seeing champagne was probably just purple, but yeah,
Is
I
this
don't know.
is this the one? Let me see. I'm gonna send this to you. Oh, that's just gonna take you to the Wikipedia page.
No,
Oh,
all right.
please.
Here. Yeah. That looks black. Here, I'll send you this eBay Motors one. So I'm calling it champagne, right? Which chartreuse? It's not chartreuse, is it? I can never remember what chartreuse is.
I always think of champagne like a beige color. Yeah, so that was what the image I was trying to show you.
Yeah. I don't know. Doesn't that color look great?
I mean, I wouldn't drive it, but sure.
I called it champagne. I guess it's probably not champagne. It's just like good wine. Yeah, the Prowler with trailer. It's the most ridiculous thing. So anyhow, that was there, and Henry was a little, we'll just say, embarrassed by how excited I was to see the Prowler. But I got a picture that's on Instagram. So yeah.
Well, what's nice about Plymouth is that they tried different things instead of everything looking like a box on wheels.
Yeah, well, they did for a minute, right? They don't exist anymore. They're gone. But yeah,
Right. So it didn't exactly work out for them, but
well, that brand didn't succeed. So anyhow, all right. Here's the thing I wanted to talk to you about today. I finished the book that you recommended I read.
yes.
You wanna maybe summarize this or explain it to our dear listeners?
Unreasonable Hospitality. We talked about this a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, but I'd only made it like 15% in. Yeah, I hadn't bought. I was almost 50% in, hadn't bought into it. I finished it, and I stopped by Shake Shack because of it. So
nice.
All
Was
right.
I with you at Shake Shack the last time you were there?
What's that? Yeah. Have I been to Shake Shack since we did the milkshake tasting?
We should figure out
I
what
don't
episode
think
that
so.
was.
Yeah. If only the robots. Claude, when you are reviewing this, would you please go and find a link to the Twist of Lemon Pod episode that involved a review of Shake Shack? Nah, it won't do it.
I believe that the highlight was the French fries at that point in time.
So I remembered it differently. I thought the fries were disappointing. That's what I told the kids.
Oh, maybe that's what it was because you had read up on like all the research they put into it.
I had read into it, or you had?
You had.
This feels like way more like a thing you would do.
We've got to go back and find that episode. So.
Yeah, we'll dig it up.
Anyway, Unreasonable Hospitality is written by this guy who's opened a bunch of restaurants. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, otherwise I would say it.
William Guidara, right? Is that?
Yeah. And this is basically, I don't know, it's part business customer experience book, part memoir of him chasing his Michelin star.
Well, the Michelin star is actually not as significant as the 50 best restaurants list. Right. Which is it's your similar space, right? But this 50 best is kind of how they open up the book to, or he opens up the book to by saying, we were 50th and that wasn't, or 49th, something like that, right? Like near the bottom. They made the list, but that wasn't going to cut it.
Yep. So cool. But you did not like it for the first 15% of the book.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing too. So him and the guy that started 11th Madison Park, which is the restaurant that really is the focal point of this book, eventually break up, right? So they're not doing their thing anymore. So I think knowing that kind of soured the initial read of the book. They had a long run together. It's I probably over rotated on the breakup as
Okay.
I'm prone to do. But here, I think you should describe why you recommended this book, because I'm not totally sure I know why you recommended this book to me yet.
I mean, ultimately, you were talking about your Michelin starred restaurant experiences and the detail and things that went into those experiences. So I thought that you would like this specifically because we're both pretty great proponents of the customer experience, and having it really spelled out and the thought behind decisions and seeing when things failed, I thought would be appealing to you.
Yeah, and once the book got into the actual experiments that they were trying to do as they moved their way up in terms of the 50 best list, getting their Michelin star, the New York Times review, which they actually I think put more clout in the New York Times review than they did the Michelin stars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was interesting. So here's what fascinated me. So I'm all for delighting your customers with the thing that you make or do. Right. For
Mm-hmm.
me, if you've been following my YouTube channel, it's building APIs for developers to use, and it is important to me that they be fantastic. I had not thought through the way that I approach API design through the lens of a restaurateur, but I think that's kind of what this book does.
Right.
Um, I will just say this: I've had some really great meal experiences. Some at a Michelin star restaurant. They are very different from the level of like hospitality that he's describing here. It's a
Sure.
long shot between the Michelin star restaurant I went to there for Valentine's Day and where he's at or was at when he owned 11th Madison Park. Um, I am curious. Do you Did you ever consider the possibility that what he was describing as doing is being like too over the top?
I mean, I think he describes it that way. The name of the book is Unreasonable Hospitality. But I kind of think that at least the thought process of getting to that level should be the North Star. I think that you got turned off when, he started stalking his future patrons to build a dossier on them. But
Which, funny enough, like I learned more about the dossier perspective from the internet than I did from his book.
sure.
Right. There's some fascinating things that he talks about doing. Like a customer left a bottle of champagne in the fridge and they sent someone to their apartment to pull the bottle of champagne out of the fridge because it would eventually pop in the
Mm.
fridge. Right. Which is, I immediately I'm thinking to myself, like, in what universe would I give my keys to my waiter
Right.
to go to my house and do that? Right. So I had a little, that was one of those things where I was like, I'm not buying the premise here.
Yeah, and I think that this is the danger too, right? Especially in this world of data where we're now trying to correct where maybe we don't know everything and be able to predict everything about people who visit your website. But I think there is a point where you probably go too far. Like the great example of this was in like marketing automation, and Target, I think, sends this mailing about expecting your baby to somebody, and it's like this 16-year-old girl whose parents find out that way. So
Yeah, that's a bit extreme. That's a bit
yeah.
extreme. The ability to profile, like, I mean, he talks about like we were Googling customers before they showed up,
Yep.
right? And okay, I get it. Then I started to ask myself, like, if I walked into 11th Madison Park, what would they find out about me, right? From Google? And I I don't know. Maybe the podcast is probably where all the interesting. I keep saying 11th. It's 11 Madison Park. Um, I keep thinking to myself, like the podcast is probably where people would learn the most raw, uncut. So just to be clear, I love red wine from outside the United States, in particular France and Italy. And I like red meat and I hate beets. If you are Googling me, know that I hate beets. I do not want to eat beets at your fancy Michelin star restaurant. Do you understand? No beets, please.
Is this the name of the episode? Stan Lemon hates beets.
It could be. I don't think it's a secret. Actually, it's funny on the beet thing. So there's like Indianapolis has a decent restaurant scene, but not fine dining. There's one place that I know of with a tasting menu, and I keep looking at it and thinking about going, but the beets are on the menu. The beets Carpaccia, I think, if I remember right. So,
well, it'll be okay.
No, it won't, because beets are just gross. So coming back to the book, right? There's other stuff he did that seemed more reasonable. There was like they overheard a conversation between guests that had like the perfect New York experience, but they didn't get to try a hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
And they go out and buy a street dog, and which in New York they call them dirty water dogs. They replate it and chop it up into smaller parts or whatever and serve it, right, to get that full experience. Okay, like that seems reasonable.
So that's more on the line of like Disney, and like again, I don't know that I would call that reasonable, because they don't make any money on that. That's purely with the guest experience in mind.
Yeah, it is, and it's I appreciate that part of it. I also appreciate like some of the stories around making menu adjustments. So there's a whole bit about like they stopped giving out menus and they had a conversation about what you want or what you didn't like. So that, and like that resonated with me because I would be able to say I do not like beets, right? And I would not get beets in my menu. I don't know how as a kitchen you do that, and he didn't really dive into that, right? So that was one thing I kind of wanted to know from the book side. Like his whole perspective is from the front of the house, as it were. And I'm really curious how a kitchen adapts to that kind of craziness. But in spirit, right? I think it's about going over and above to make sure your customers have a good experience. I am not sure. Like, I think unreasonable is a good way to describe the extent to which they went.
Yes.
And I'm not.
They also had a different goal than you, Stan.
Okay, well, all right. Explain.
I mean, their goal was to end up on this top 50 restaurant list and top it, really.
My goal is to be on the top 50 APIs list, John.
Right. And so your customers want different things. These people really want a extraordinary experience, whereas your customers want stability, things to work, it to be easy to implement, things along those lines.
Yeah, and so here's kind of I don't want to say a revelation, but one of the things that I've been noodling on since I finished this book. The type of thing that they're describing doing, it works when we are talking about small scale, low volume, right? It really doesn't work in many other settings, to be completely honest with you. You know? That's I think the thing that I was struggling with maybe the most out of this is like what they did fundamentally doesn't work elsewhere.
So, if you go into the specifics of the details, yes. If you look at this from a frame of mind of the customer experience overall, like this is very apparent in hospitality situations. We saw this on Disney Cruise Line specifically. Where specifically when something went wrong, they went over the top to fix it. You've seen that multiple times. You've seen great things in these hospitality environments. So I think where that plays into when you are building a product, or in my case, really it is me trying to get the customer facing people to think in a more hospitality mindset, specifically in customer communication, or providing an experience when they're trying new instruments, things of that nature. That's frame of mind, rather than like, here's the specific, like, hey, when we bring the bill, we're going to bring a bottle of port or whatever it was.
Oh yeah. At the end, it wasn't port, it was brandy, I thought.
Brandy.
And then, or was it cognac? Maybe it was cognac.
I don't remember.
I think it was cognac. Yeah, I'm with you on the frame of mind. I just don't think he actually talks that much about the frame of mind versus
He doesn't directly, and I think this is probably where I'm weird because I get these kind of things out of everything. Like when we go on a Disney cruise, I see, okay, how are they treating customers? What are the details? Because I think that it's very much a detail thing. And where can I find where those details make a big difference in my context?
okay, this resonates. I remember I've been with you in Disney World one time at Epcot, the weakest of the parks, and we were there for the light show, which I find meh. And you were like latching on to every single detail and aspect of everything around the lagoon where they do the fireworks, like everything, things that I'd never noticed. So I get that. I this is where though for me the book I would argue falls short because if you don't introduce this frame of mind, the premise is not repeatable outside of a context of low scale and low volume, right? And that's what I'm interested in. Is like most people do not work in a situation where the margin for an individual customer is so exorbitant that you don't have to have a lot of customers. This kind of goes back to the Ferrari dealership, right? It's a similar boat. So they can spend an inordinate amount of time and hospitality on an individual guest because the margin is so dramatic, right? Uh, but that's not most people's contexts, right? So I think about like if the mindset I go to is like, how does this apply for a plumber, right? And I agree that there's a mindset, there's a frame of mind, there's a framework there that a plumber could use, but it is not obvious.
Yeah. So I think the question is, what does this look like at scale?
And I don't
And
I don't know. I don't like this, that's
sure you do, Stan. It goes back to Disney.
oh, you think Disney is the epitome of unreasonable hospitality at scale?
I wouldn't go as epitome, but I think that they are working towards that with kind of these standard things that they do, right? So they add these magic touches. The Disney hug rule, where as a kid's hugging them, they don't let go until a kid is first. Like that is a difference maker at a very young age. That is standard across all the characters you meet. We see this by as you're walking onto the cruise ship, though this doesn't appear to be true on the adventure, your family name is announced to the entire ship.
Hold, sidebar. What do you mean it doesn't appear to be true on the adventure?
I was watching some YouTubes and like they don't have a grand ballroom that you enter on. So they were like entering on deck 4 and everybody was cheering and they didn't do the name announcements on the maiden voyage or the one after that.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder. They probably don't do what Disney does on other cruise lines. I have no frame of reference because I've never been on another cruise line, but I would imagine like if I get on Carnival, they're not cheering my
Correct.
name in the grand ballroom.
Correct.
Huh. So I know you follow the internet on Disney Cruise Line more closely than I do. Have people been in a tizzy about this?
I have not seen a tizzy, but it was commented upon as a difference.
Fascinating. Okay, all right. Resume your analysis of Disney. I just had to sidebar that.
You see this in the parks. You see this with the magical moments. Like all of the cast members are empowered to make these next steps as they see them. You see it in them piping smells into different areas. um, and it's just their focus on detail. If you look up on Main Street, you have all this detail where the customer can kind of go as deep as they want to.
Okay. All right.
Now, what does that look like for APIs?
Man, that's a good question. I don't know because I think like from an API perspective, it should be easy to reason about, right? I mean, there's a certain obviousness to it, which means that there's not like I don't think there's hidden details. It has to be obvious. It has to be easy to understand. Documentation,
Intuitive.
SDKs have to be clean and easy to grok, right? Intuitive, yeah. Intuitive is a big part of it for sure. And then you go into like, is it available? Does it do the thing that I tell it to do when I tell it to do it?
Every single time.
Every single time. And so this is where I struggle a little bit, right? Because the name of the game in an API is clarity, predictability. There's no surprises. And I think some of the things you're describing with like Disney, those are wonderful surprises hidden in the little corners of the park or the ship, right? I don't think I want those in an API.
Correct. But Apple at its best has really intuitive interfaces, so much so that the elderly can just intuitively know how to use it, whether they have computer experience or not, or a toddler. And it just comes naturally. So I think there's something there. I think there's something to time to value for a new customer who's like, okay, can I get up and running using the API that I need to quickly?
Yeah, your moment to wow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I'm tracking. The Apple one is interesting to me because I actually would think of there's a discovery, right? Like a usability discovery that is Apple's nailed by and large.
Right.
And gosh, we could probably talk about that for hours because if you remember back in the day, like one of the objections to the long press was that it wasn't discoverable.
Right.
Remember this?
Yep, for sure.
And so they put tertiary things under long press. Like it was never the default behavior for stuff. But now everybody knows the long press. And so you can start to see where Apple has shifted from this is a place for tertiary things and this is actually a place for primary things, or things that are interesting. Like I always go back to the stickers that you can generate from a photo, right? Like that's a capability that as far as I know, there's no other way than to just long press on John's face and drag it off the image. And now I got a sticker. You know? But they've been able to shift that way because of time and education. And they didn't make the shift until those things had happened. So all right, I'm all over the place.
But what I'm saying is like, you don't have to have this highly curated experience in an API. In fact, that would be detrimental to what your customers are looking for.
And that's where like, I don't know what an unreasonable API looks like.
So think about all the things that annoy you about bad APIs. And sometimes you're just surprised because, this isn't a pain anymore. Or this actually looks nice and it's readable, or something along those lines. I think, like going back to your plumber example, I don't necessarily want my plumber to surprise me. But if he's like overly responsive and professional in his communications, or if I can book something online, like those are little things in the details thinking about my experience that separates you from 90% of plumbers in the area.
So you know that I like my plumber a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I actively recommend Cerulio to people. Just a fantastic plumber. The thing that I like is I get rich explanations, usually like pointing at the thing of what has been done or what needs to be done, and I can get as much depth out of that as I want.
Yep. Which I'm sure doesn't happen with every customer of theirs.
No, probably not. Probably not. But because I like, whenever I have a contractor, right, I want to understand the work that's being done. And I can tell you that this aspect of Cerulio is unique, right? Like it is shockingly unique at how easy it is for me to say, hey, can you show me what you did and explain it to me? I actually had a roofer here not that long ago of similar experience, right? Watergate roofing here in Indianapolis. And did I send you the video? I can't remember if I sent you the video that he made for me.
I don't think so. Not for a roofer.
I should send you this because it's kind of cool. So I was basically, hey, you do free inspections. You were here a couple of years ago. I had you do some nail pops. We just had a whole bunch of hail and high windstorms. I just want you to go up and look and see if anything's wrong. Right. So he goes up and there was a strip of shingles vertically that were not sealed down and he had chalked them. Right. And then I didn't have to ask for this. He just did it. He took his phone and filmed this. He showed how each shingle pops up. Right. Now, How do I know that they're not supposed to do that? Right? So he walks over to another part of the roof that's proper and then shows that it doesn't do that, all in the same video. Comes
Nice.
down, shows it to me and sends it to me, so I have it, right? And again, like I don't
So
need
that's
my
a
roof replaced.
detail about customer experience, right?
It is, yes, but I still don't know how to translate into my APIs. Maybe it comes down to the amount of like discoverable detail about the thing that you do with an API. Maybe that's like, can I go find all of the things, all the side effects that happen from an API call? Maybe that's the way I need to frame it.
Or could you start like recommending next things based on how they're using the API now?
Yeah, but that's really hard to do from a purely API perspective. Recommend the next thing, and like you don't want dynamic shape, right? You don't want evolving shape of an API. Now you can do a lot of that stuff over in a console where you show what's happening, as a result of your API. But I like that's the thing. Like I'm just trying to wrap my brain around like what does unreasonable hospitality look like for an API?
You know what you need to do, Stan? You need to sit on customer calls and listen for friction points that they don't even know themselves.
That they don't even know themselves. I spent some time on customer calls, John. They're very different for an API company. I look back to like my time at Salesforce and what it was like when people would just yell about the position of a button. Is very different.
Your customer is developers who are trying to build things with yours. So like, I don't know, what does this look for a roofing nail company?
What does this look like for a roofing nail company? I don't know. So anyhow, the like come full circle here. There is, I think there is something to this unreasonable hospitality. I like the story. I think he actually does a good job of telling the story. Again, the beginning is a little slow, but once he starts getting into their evolutions, I also, and this is something I did resonate with a lot. I really appreciated how he talked about failure and learning from failure and the willingness to change. He also has just some really great manager zingers and like tidbits in here. The one that really stood out to me, Jonathan, was you don't hire a resume, you hire the person.
Right.
And I thought about like how true. Unfortunately, as I sat there and thought about it, most of the examples where I was like, man, I wish we hadn't hired the resume, didn't go well. But I think there's some good, some good knowledge in the book. There's do you remember the 95-5 rule?
I don't. I remember the name, but I don't remember what the rule is.
The principle is basically like 95% of what you do, like you're going to do from like a cost management standpoint, very conservatively, right? You're going to be like really tight and really precise. And then the 5%, you're just going to like throw all caution to the wind. So I think he uses the blue spoons from the Museum of Modern Art, the ice cream stand that he ran, as an example, right? They were wildly expensive for what they were doing, but they just made a better experience.
Right.
I think there's something to that in terms of how we manage experiences and products that I want to explore realizing, because I think there's some magic sauce in that 5% that we have to figure out how to account for.
Well, sounds like you still have a job, Stan.
I've always got a job, Jonathan. I've always got a job. But the other thing, because I someday want to release this exercise app. I keep thinking about like, what is the 5% in the exercise app? It's definitely not the Apple Foundation models.
At this point in time,
before we wrap up, just quick AI excitement. So, have you been following what Google did with the Gemma model? Do you know anything about this?
All I know is that I installed that app that you told me to install and haven't really used it for much of anything.
Okay, the Edge Gallery from Google. I actually recommend everybody check this out if you have even a slight bit of interest in AI. So the thing that's cool, right, is Google open sourced this model, Gemma 4. I mean, they didn't open source. They released it. Like you can get it free.
Right.
And it's intended to run on device. And if you play around in the Edge Gallery, like on your phone, it's quite responsive and it does a pretty solid job, I think. There's still like, it's still not going to be, you're not running on an NVIDIA GPU, so it's not going to be ChatGPT 5.4. But here's what I keep thinking about to myself. So Apple, when they wanted to do the smarter Siri, they were all bent on doing on-device models, right? And I think for a certain amount of stuff that happens on my device, from a privacy perspective, it has to be on-device. Like I believe that.
Yep.
Okay. So we know that Apple has done a big deal with Google.
Yep.
Right. Gemma 4 drops. They have this Edge Gallery on iOS. I think this is all part of the buildup to WWDC. I think this is like we're starting to see the seams of what local AI on your iPhone is going to look like. And I'll just tell you this: I played around with Gemma 4 over the weekend on my phone, on my Mac via Olama, via OpenCode. This is a pretty snappy model. This would be a huge upgrade in place of the foundation models that Apple ships today. So all
what kind of things did you test it with?
Well, so like on OpenCode, right? I had it write some JavaScript code for me, write some tests. I had to do a little bit of Swift code. Swift code is interesting because like Claude really struggles with Swift, but Codex is decent. Like it's just not it doesn't have the knowledge base, I think, for other languages. I had it do like find me libraries nearby because my closest branch is going to close for a few weeks. I can't do a hold for pickup there. I was like, go find out distances for each of those. I did a couple of prompting around exercise stuff, right? Like, hey, tell me what the difference between is a pigeon stretch and a figure 4 stretch and when I should do one or the other, right? Those kind of things. There's more to be done for sure. I did some voice dictation on the phone. That was okay. Voice is hard. I think Claude voice largely sucks. Codex has got good stuff. So anyhow, just trying to like take a couple of my usual ChatGPT use cases and transport them in.
Test them out.
Yeah. And I'll just say like it's wildly different than the other open models and it's faster. It's significantly faster. The one thing that keeps killing me, because I've got in the exercise app this foundation model implementation. When I say go make me an exercise routine of 15 minutes of cardio, like I could go make a pot of coffee. Like it takes a while, you know. And that was another one I tried. Like let's just see what happens. 15 minutes of cardio, and it outlined it very quickly. There are no bindings for Swift yet to use this model. So you can't use this model in Swift code yet, but it says on their website coming soon, which is another reason why I think this is the future. So,
all right. Well, WWDC is how far away?
It's in June, so we got a couple months yet.
Okay. Well,
but
maybe
everything's
we'll see
about
some more
to get
interesting things.
Everything's going to get more and more interesting as we go. So
nice.
On that note, John, I think that's too much AI for Liz if she tuned in this week. So
well, she hasn't said anything yet, so we may have lost her.
Oh no! Right. I wonder if we like Claude. Can you please email Liz and tell her to check out the podcast again? All right, Jonathan. Until next time, my friend.
All right. Later.
That's a wrap, yo. Time to unplug. Stan and John just served that mug. Twist of lemon, sharp and clean. Truth and tech on your podcast screen. Catch us next time. Don't let it slip. Wisdom packed in every clip. From faith to fiber, finance to code. We're taking the mic